After you've got the ingredients all prepped, you're going to put some olive oil into the pan, turn it on high, and let that heat up, maybe about a minute. And once that gets to be just about smoking, make sure the pan bottom is coated. And then you're going to start adding your veal cubes that you've prepped. These are about 1/4 inch and square, some are a little bit longer. They don't really have to be very regular shaped. And you're going to add those in. Don't drop them because you don't want to get splashed by, again, that hot oil. And you keep putting them in. You don't want to crowd the pan. That's why you want to keep a little bit of distance between them. Otherwise, it'll release too much moisture and you actually end up boiling them instead of browning them. Add some salt. And then some pepper. And you're going to be searing them, browning them on one side for about 1.5 minutes. And after which, you're just going to flip the other side. The ones that don't flip over right away, you're just going to turn them over yourself a little bit. And you're going to do about another 1.5 minutes on the other side. So when everything's all done with that first batch, you're going to put them all over to one side. And they're browned on both sides at this point. And put those on a separate plate. Put the pan back on. Add another tablespoon or so of olive oil. Let that heat up. Since the pan's already pretty hot, that's just going to take about 20 or 30 seconds. And then you're going to add the next batch. This is about 1.25 pounds of veal total. So this is a large saute pan, so it just takes about 2 batches. Again, add everything in, and you're going to do that next batch just like you did the first batch. Don't crowd the pan with too much veal. And once they're browned on both sides, I'm going to add the other veal back in, give it a stir a bit. A little bit extra juice there. And now you're going to add about 2/3 cup of wine. It adds a nice flavor, and you're going to cook that down over high heat. And that's going to take about 3 minutes or so. All you're going to do there is reduce the wine so that it's barely present. That gives a little extra nice flavor to the veal, and it helps to glaze the pan a little bit at this point. So after it's cooked down, about 3 or 4 minutes, see how there's not much moisture left in the pan. You don't have to cook it all off. This is pretty good. Everything's nice and coated. So now you're going to pour in about 1 cup of chicken broth. You could actually get away with less because you don't want to end up just boiling it. This is going to be more or less a braise. And I'm using fresh rosemary instead of the crushed dried. So I use about a tablespoon of that, and then I add in the nice big clove of minced garlic. Stir that up good. And now the long, easy part starts. We're just going to simmer for about an hour. Get everything nice and mixed in. We're going to turn it down to low heat. And now we're going to cover it. And we'll check back in about 20-25 minutes. After about 25 minutes, I'm going to check. See how that moisture has pretty much evaporated. Let me add a little bit more. 1/2 cup, maybe 3/4 cup. Stir that around. Don't want anything getting burned. And continue. After you do that a couple of times over the course of an hour, everything's going to look about like that. And at this point, the meat's going to be very tender. Now I used to just take this and add it over rice, but I found that if I add the rice in, it's a lot easier. I just have one pan, and it absorbs a lot more flavor from the rosemary and the garlic and the veal. So I'm going to add, in this case I'm making 3 servings, so I'm going to put a cup and a half of rice in with 3 cups of chicken broth, and over high heat I'm going to get that boiling. Stir it a little bit, everything nice and even. There we go. And I'm going to wait for that to start boiling pretty hard. After about 3 or 4 minutes, it's going to look like this. And I'm just going to turn the heat down to low, simmer. Stir it a little bit. And I'm going to check back in about 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, the rice is all nice cooked. You can actually continue to cook the rice if you'd like. Makes it a little fluffier, add a little more moisture, but 15 minutes should do it. There, all done. All remains is to serve it up in the plates and scoop it out. Yes, it's not very colorful, but it's very tasty. If you want, you can garnish it with some fresh sprig of rosemary, and that'll add the color. And there you go. Just bring it now to the table.